Okay, shall we start? Right. Now we have done market structures. Now we are starting something called pricing practices. That means we learn, depending on your market power, some firms becomes price setters, some becomes price takers, right? So if the competition is very large, then it's highly difficult for you to compete with the prices. Okay? Competition එක වැඩි නම් market එකේ firms ගොඩක් තියෙනවා නම් market එකේ price එක ලොකුවට different කරන්න අමාරුයි unless your product is highly differentiated. So we learn, especially perfectly competitive firms, they have same price, right? Since they are providing a homogeneous product. And also we learned in the monopolistic competition also, even though their product is differentiated, they have close substitutes for that product. Therefore, they face elastic demand, right? If they change the price by a small amount, the quantity is going to be changed by a large amount. So in that case, they also face difficulties when they try to change the prices. The price-wise competition එකක් කරන්න තමයි. However, the firms who has, so we are going to talk about pricing practices. The firms who have like non-competitive firms, or we say the firms with price setting power. If they have the power to set the price, these firms can do price discrimination, or they can like have different pricing practices to compete. Right? If they are a non-competitive firm, then they can like have different pricing practices. For example, if it's a monopoly. So monopoly is the single seller in the market. So there is no other firms providing the same product. So they have the power to change the price. So then the monopoly can decide how to charge the price, right? So it's a non-competitive firm. Even the oligopoly also. Sometimes if there are few firms in the market, they are non-competitive. If they have a cartel and all, policy oligopoly එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ competition එක අඩු යාල අතර. They agree for a unique price or quantity. So then they will follow some pricing practices to decide how to maximize their profit. So instead of charging a uniform or single price, these non-competitive firms use non-uniform pricing, charging consumers different prices for the same product, or charging single customer a price that depends on the number of units the customer buys. So the first thing you have to note down is, only non-competitive firms can do these pricing practices. එතකොට competition එක අඩු කට්ටිය තමයි මේ pricing practices adopt කරන්නේ. So it can be either monopoly or oligopoly. Especially monopoly, right? So they can practice pricing practices. So what are the pricing practices they can do? So these non-competitive price firms can do pricing practices. That means they can change the price. Either they can go uniform price or non-uniform price. Uniform price or non-uniform price. Uniform price means they are charging a single price. Like perfectly competitive firms. එක product එකට එකම price එක තමයි දෙන්නේ. They do not differentiate the price. However, non-uniform price means it can be two ways. Maybe they charge the same price. Maybe they charge different prices for the same product. So same product, under two different prices they sell. එකම product එක prices දෙකකට තිබුණා. Or else they can charge different prices That depends on the number of units the customer buys. Or they charge different prices depending on the quantity. Right? So the flow is here we have done discussing the market structures. It's freezing here now today. Apparently all the remotes in the classrooms have been somewhere. Not for fun. Yeah? Have you taken the remotes? What are the remotes again? It's okay. They are fine there. Yeah. Like searching for the remotes anyway. That. Now here, if you are a non-competitive firm, you can charge different prices. So you can do pricing practices. If you are a competitive firm, it is difficult for you to practice pricing practices. Understood? The price charge if you are a non-competitive firm only, especially for a monopoly, then to some scale for a oligopoly as well. But for the perfect competition and monopolistic competition, it is difficult for you to charge or to practice pricing practices. Do you understand that point? Okay. Now here, for the non-competitive firms, they can either charge uniform price or especially non-uniform price. එතකොට මේ non-uniform price එකක් දෙනවා නම් තමයි අපි කියන්නේ that is a pricing practice. හැමෝටම doesn't matter who is the buyer or it doesn't matter like your family background or income background or any. It's the same product, same price and හැමෝටම දෙන්නේ that is a uniform price. If it's a uniform price, that is not a pricing practice. හැමෝටම එකම price එක නම් දෙන්නේ ඒක pricing practice එකක් නෙමෙයි. But if you are charging different prices for the same product, maybe depending on your income level, I'm charging different prices. Maybe depending on the quantity you buy, I charge different prices. If I do that, that means I'm doing pricing practices. Did you understand that? Uniform price that is not a pricing practice. But if I charge different prices from different consumers, and if I charge different prices for different quantities, then that is a pricing practice. Understood? Okay, now can you tell me examples? එකම product එකට different prices හම්බෙන වෙලාවල් or depending on your quantity you buy different prices. Thank you very much. Can you give examples? It's convincing. Oh yes, between wholesale and retail. They were have a කඩේක විකුණන්න ගන්නවා නම් විතර තුසියුද? Eggs card, no, whatever the amount of large number of eggs, then the unique price for one egg would be lower. But if you go to a retail shop, a supermarket to another shop, and buy dozens of eggs, then the price for one egg would be higher. එතකොට ඔයාගේ purpose එක අනුව whether you are wholesale consumer or retail consumer යාට ගන්න එක එතකොට සම්මතට හදන්න bulk එකක් විදිහට ගන්නවාද depending on that the price would be different. So same product, different pricing. What else? Tell me. That's all. So if you go to watch a movie, how about the movie tickets? Depending on where you sit, the price would be different. ODC, MMT, so the same product, cinema have a different price. What else? Movie tickets. How about airline? Economy, business class, first class, the same service. There could be little bit difference between the quality. Economy business class but still overall like different prices. No? So that means same product you are charging different prices. And also, can you recall any instances where you are charged different prices depending on the quantity you buy? It's okay. wholesale retail patterns. What consume can units gana pricing වෙනස් වෙන තියෙනවා. Electricity, yes. For the if you have unit of consumptions below some level, different price. If you exceed that unit, higher price. Then units gana panno, the එහාට ගහන unit එකකට price එක වැඩි. And similarly for telephones also sometimes. Minute එකකට charge කරන ගාන වෙනස් වෙනවා bill එකේ එක limit එකක් ගන්නට පස්සේ. So depending on the number of units you consume, a different price is charged. Understood? Right. Now you understand who are non-competitive firms. These non-competitive firms plus monopolists can do non-uniform pricing. Non-uniform pricing means the pricing practices. Okay? Under non-uniform pricing, we are going to learn pricing practices. So non-uniform pricing practices, there are three parts. Price discrimination, two-part tariff, timing set. Okay? So now please remember the flow. Then non-uniform pricing යටතේ තමයි pricing practices. So in the pricing practices or non-uniform pricing practices, we have three parts. Price discrimination, two-part tariff and time set. First, let's discuss price discrimination. Price discrimination exists when the same product is sold at different prices to different buyers. So the same product is sold for different consumers under different prices. Okay? So we assume the cost of production is either the same or it differs, but not as much as the difference in the charge prices. The product is basically the same, but it may have slight differences. So examples are airline services, telephone charges, unit pricing in water supply or electricity. Okay. So here, now, if we take airlines, among business class, economy class, maybe first class, let's say business and economy, somewhat the same service, but there could be slight differences. But if we are to categorize it under pricing practices, the cost difference should be the same or slight. දැන් හිතන්න එකම ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකනේ අපි දෙන්නේ ප්‍රයිස් දෙකකට. ඒතර ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක ලොකුවට ඩිෆරන්ට් වෙනවා නම් හදන්න යන කොස්ට් එකෙන් then obviously we have to charge two different prices now. නේ එකක් මම ඔයාලට best quality එකෙන් දෙනවා අනිත් එක දෙනවා තියෙන පොඩිම quality එකෙන් lowest quality එකෙන්. So anyway I have to charge a higher price for the higher quality one because I have to incur a higher cost to produce that. That is not pricing practices or price discrimination. Understood? හදන product එකේ cost එක අනුව නම් ඒ cost difference එක indicate කරන්න නම් මම two different prices charge කරන්න. That is not price discrimination. Understood? To be called as a price discrimination, the product should be somewhat same or similar. Slight differences තමයි තියෙනවා නම් තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් අපි airlines ගන්නවා නම් price discrimination වලට even though there are changes in the seats or the food they provide, the cost difference between the two services in economy and business class shouldn't be higher. Understood? තේරෙනවද? දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මට economy class යන passenger කෙනාට economy එකේ යන passenger cost එක යන්නේ meals තුනක් දීලා යව destination එකට අරගෙන යන cost එක යන්නේ 2000යි. හරිද? Business class කෙනෙකුට liquor එක ඔක්කොම දීලා මට යනවා 5000ක් cost එක. එහෙනම් අරයට 2000යි නම් මෙයාට 5000යි නම් anyway I have to charge a different price now දෙන්නට. So that difference in price comes from the cost change. That is not price discrimination. Understood? If the prices change because of the cost difference, that is not price discrimination. ඒ කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම cost එක වෙනස් වෙනවා නම් different prices charge කරන්න වෙනවනේ. No. Here price discrimination means the cost difference is not that high. But anyway I'm charging you two different prices. Okay? එතකොට මට economy class එකට දෙන්නයි economy first class එකට දෙන්නේ business class එකට දෙන්නේ යන්නේ cost එක slightly තමයි different වෙන්නේ. එක්කෙනෙකු ඔයාලට 2000යි business class එකට 2100යි. So slight difference is there, but I'm charging the very two different prices. එතකොට cost difference එක නිසා නෙමෙයි price එක different කරන්නේ. Understood? If that's the case, that is price discrimination. Did you understand? Yes. Right. So the product is basically the same, but it may have slight differences. Slight differences කියන්න පුළුවන්. Here. First place, I think somewhere I have it. Right. Here. Who can price discriminate? Now, we are talking about price discrimination. Then the question is, who can do that? Anyone. Out of all, not all firms can do price discrimination. For a firm to price discriminate successfully, these three conditions must be met. Not all the firms can do price discrimination. හැමෝටම මේ එකම product එක different prices වලට දෙන්න බෑ. එහෙම කරන්න නම් first a firm must have market power. All non-competitive firms may be able to price discriminate, right? A firm must have market power. එහෙනම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට significant market power එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන. එයාලට ලොකු market power එකක් තියෙනවා කියන you have a largest market share. So with the majority of the market you are providing your product. So it means for the consumers there's no other options, right? No cross substitute. So they have to anyway buy from you. So the market power should be there, right? Consumer sensitivity to price must differ and the firm must be able to identify how consumer sensitivity differs. That means, we discussed this thing under monopoly also. There, the provider or the seller can understand, okay, I have different type of consumers in the market. Their sensitivity to price must be different. That means, what is sensitivity of price means? Simply, in other words, what is that? Price sensitivity කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Elasticity, right? Some have elastic demand, some have inelastic demand. So there should be that type of categories in the market and the seller should be able to clearly identify that. Seller ට පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ යාගේ market එක clearly categorize කරගන්න. මේගොල්ලන්ට තියෙන මොන වගේ demand එකක්. Understood? So that is the second condition. Third one is a firm must be able to prevent or limit resale of the product to higher price paying customers from customers whom the firm charges relatively low prices. For example, let's say now I am the provider. Okay, let's say that is I'm a monopoly. Then I'm a monopoly, you are my market. So now I have categorized you into two different sets. ඔයාලා තමයි මගේ retail customers, ඔයාලා තමයි මගේ wholesale customers. එතන මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට දෙනවා ඔයාලා bulk වගේ ගන්න. ඕගොල්ලන්ට මම අඩු price එකකට දෙනවා ඔයාලට same product එක වැඩි price එකකට. Okay. Now, what if these people buy the product from me and resell to you at a lower price? මේගොල්ලෝ මගෙන් අඩුවට අරගෙන ඔයාලට මන් දෙන ගානට වඩා අඩු ගානකට දෙන්න. එහෙනම් ඔයාලා මගෙන් ගන්න නෑනේ. මෙයාගෙන් ගන්න. If that happens, can I succeed in price discrimination? එහෙනම් වැඩක් නැහැ. එතකොට ඔයාලා කොහොමද මෙයාගෙන් තමයි ගන්නේ? මට කරන්න බෑ price discrimination. So I should be able to limit resale. මෙයාලා market එකේ අඩුවෙන් ගන්න අඩු price එකකට ගන්න කට්ටියට වැඩි price එකේ වලට විකුණන්න බෑ. Understood? If I can limit that, that means I can do price discrimination. නැත්නම් function කරන්න බෑ resale කියනවා. Right. Prevent or limit. So these three conditions should be there in order for me to do the price discrimination. First thing is I have to have market power. Secondly, the sensitivity to price or the elasticity of price should be different and I should be able to recognize that. Thirdly, I should be able to prevent resale from lower price paying customers to higher price paying customers. Understood? If these three conditions are met, then I can do price discrimination. In price discrimination, That means a firm earns a higher profit from price discrimination than uniform pricing for two reasons. A price discriminating firm charges a higher price to customers are willing to pay more, capturing some or all of their consumers. Sells to some people who were not willing to pay as much as the uniform price. Now, the objective of this price discrimination is to maximize my profit, right? Now I know your willingness to pay. I have two different markers. Among my consumers, I have categorized it. You're my like rich market. This is not poor, like income wise, so maybe there's a difference. Okay, so I know your maximum price. What is the maximum price? You are ready to pay. You are charging that price to me. Okay. And I absorb all of your consumer surplus, or majority of your consumer surplus. What is consumer surplus now? The difference between the price you actually pay and the maximum price you are agreeing to pay or willing to pay. That is the consumer surplus. If we take here the quantity and the price, if this is your demand curve, let's say for this quantity, I'm charging this price. Now, this is the price you pay. But here, these prices you are willing to pay, even for limited quantity. That means by charging this price, you make a saving equals to consumer surplus. That is the difference between price, the price you pay and the maximum price that you are willing to pay. Right? That is consumer surplus. But if I know your maximum price that you are ready to pay, and without charging the lower price, now what I do, I'm charging you the maximum price that you are willing to do. ඔයා ඒ quantity එකට දෙන්න කැමති උපරිම මිල මම දැන් දන්නවා. ඒකම මම ඔයාගෙන් charge කරනවා. Then is there a difference between the price and your willingness to pay price? නෑ. ඔයා කැමති දෙන්න සූදානම් උපරිම මිලම ඔයා මට දෙන්නවා. In that case, what happened to your consumer surplus? It becomes zero, right? So I have the power to absorb your consumer surplus to me by charging you the maximum price you are willing to pay. And these are the people who are not willing to pay a higher price. ඔයාලා කැමති මට higher price එකක් දෙන්න. ඒ නිසා තමයි මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඒ ලොකු price එකක් charge කරලා ගන්නවා consumer surplus. මේගොල්ලෝ කැමති නැහැ. They are not charging a price that they are ready to pay. ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති ගන්නට දෙන්න. They're going to be part of consumer surplus එකට ගන්න. Understood? So two different prices. ඔයාලා මගේ profit එක තමයි anyway at the end I'm going to maximize. Understood? So that's why I'm doing this. Charging a higher price to consumers who are willing to pay more than the reform price, capturing some more all of their consumer surplus. Sells to some people who were not willing to pay as much as the reform price. So the මේගොල්ලෝ මට ලොකු price එකක් දෙන්න කැමති නැහැ. But by charging a lower price, some selling, some doing for that group of people as well. So price differences do not always indicate price discrimination. If cost differences are reflected in price differences, it is not recognized as price discrimination. Understood? I told you before also. Cost differentiation is not price at a different value. That is not price discrimination. Okay? Cost should be similar, same, or close to same in order to categorize it as price discrimination. Right. So here, this price discrimination, there are three types. Now, pricing practices, there are three types: price discrimination, two-part price and time sales. In the first part also, there are three types. Price discrimination again, types two not perfect price discrimination, quantity price discrimination, and multi-market price discrimination. Okay. So the perfect price discrimination, we say first degree price discrimination. Quantity, second degree. Multi-market, third degree. In perfect price discrimination, each unit of the good is sold at its maximum price. Okay. So in the perfect price discrimination or first degree price discrimination, firm with market power knows exactly how much each customer is willing to pay for each unit of its goods. එතකොට මම දන්නවා ඔයාලා මට maximum ගෙවන්න කොච්චරක් කැමතිද කියලා. So I know each of your maximum willingness to pay price. So the firm charges each person his or her reservation price, the maximum amount a person would be willing to pay per unit of output. Such an all-knowing firm can perfectly price discriminate, also called first degree price discrimination. This is not very practical in real world, but let's say I'm a doctor. Now, එකම ලෙඩේට බේත් ගන්න එන අය ඉන්නේ කියමුකෝ මම උණට බේත් දෙන කෙනෙක් කියනවා ඔයාලා ඔක්කොම එකම උණට බේත් ගන්න මම ළඟට එන්න. හැබැයි මම දන්නවා එක එක patient ගේ ඔක්කොම information. මම දන්නවා මෙයාට income කීයද මෙයාට income කීයද අරයට income. ඒතර මම දන්නවා මෙයාට එකම බේත් ටික දෙන්න මෙයා කොච්චරක් මට ගෙවන්න කැමතිද කියලා මම දන්නවා. හිතන්නකෝ මෙයා මේ එක බේත් වේලකට 10000ක් දෙන්න කැමති කියලා. මෙයා දෙන්න කැමති 5000යි. මෙයා දෙන්න කැමති 1000යි කියලා හිතමුකෝ. So I know each of my patients what is the maximum prices they ready to give. That price is called reservation price. ඕගොල්ලෝ මට දෙන්න කැමති maximum price එක තමයි reservation price. So I know that. If I know that, I'm charging you exactly that price. ඔයාට 10000ක් බිලක් දෙනවා, ඔයාට 5000ක් දෙනවා, ඔයාට 1000ක් දෙනවා. එකම පෙට්ටි ටික. So the same product, three different prices. Depending on your willingness to pay. Understood? ඕගොල්ලෝ මට ගෙවන්න කැමති ගාන අනුව මම three different prices charge කරනවා. So price discrimination is there. If I am doing that, we say that is perfect price discrimination. එක එක්කෙනාට වෙනස් කරනවා price එක. So I'm going to absorb your entire consumer surplus. එනවද? ඔයාගේ maximum price එක මම ඔයාලට charge කරනවා කියන්නේ ඔයාලට තියනවද වෙනසක්? නෑ. Actual price and willingness to pay price are same now. So you do not have consumer surplus. I am absorbing your entire consumer surplus. Understood? Then my maximum profit gain karanawa or reservation price ke charge karna. So for example, managers of this first panel set tolls on an individual basis, taking into account many factors such as whether and each ships or alternative routes. Do you know this? Suez Canal there was like several years ago or recently there was news about this also. Economic consequences predict. So that means that is a major like naval route, no? So here now that what happened, all the ships that passing through this route, they are paying different prices. So the managers charge different prices from each of the ships, depending on the weather conditions, depending on their alternative routes. So prices understood. So that is somewhat close example, but perfect price discrimination is very big. Like to know everything about the consumers, it's kind of difficult. Reservation price right? So this is a rare figure. Then if we draw it, do you have a perfect, consumer surplus? No. Then this is one consumer. You are ready to give me the maximum price you are ready to give me is 6 for one quantity. Then I 6 more charge. Understood? Now, where do you know the difference? No. So you do not have consumer service. So if here it is you, so you ready to charge, pay maximum 5 for this quantity. So I'm charging that price. If I am ඉතුරු වෙන කෑල්ල වාට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ ගානම මම charge කරගන්නවා. Understood? Now here the second one is the second degree price discrimination. We call it quantity discrimination or block pricing. So now I am doing quantity wise price discrimination. පළවෙනි එකේදී කරන්නේ මොකද? Each consumer depending on your reservation price different prices. Second degree price discrimination එකේදී කරන්නේ depending on the quantity you buy, I'm charging different prices. Understood? Quantity wise. Electricity එකේ කරන්නේ, telephone bills වල කරන්නේ, right? Water bills වල කරන්නේ. So that in quantity discrimination, there are different forms. Bulk discounts and block pricing. Bulk discounts, what happen? We are going to promote wholesale and retail price. That's why there is a difference. Quantity much. So, ගොඩක් ගන්නවද පොඩ්ඩක්ද ගන්නවද මම quantity එකට different කරනවා price. Or else block pricing. Block pricing තමයි electricity utility bills වල වෙන්නේ. 0 ඉඳන් 40 වෙනකන් units වලට එක price. 40 above තව price එක. block එකට price එකක් දාන්න. Right? So it could be bulk discounts or it could be block pricing as well. Then what happened? Here, this is the example. Domestic low users. If monthly consumption is 60 units per month or less than 60 units, first 30 units, 250 per kilowatt hour. Plus a fixed charge. Then from 31 to 60, 485. Right? However, if you are a domestic user over 60 units per month, 0 to 60 mega, 61 to 90, block, different prices. Right? So that is block price. So then what happened to the consumers? Here, I'm charging this. However, small portion of consumer surplus you can be saved. No? You can save. But I'm not charging your maximum price. No? Reservation price is not limited. එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ block එකට මම දාන්න මේ price එක. Then make the my marginal cost taker. So this entire part is my cost. This is my profit. A part. Cost taker exit color there. And maybe the money profit taker. Produce a profit taker. This green part is your remaining surplus. Understood? So for the second batch, 20 to 40, I'm charging this price. And it's my profit taker, my cost taker. This is my profit. This is your surplus. Reservation price and inside. You have some part of consumer surplus remaining under the quantity price discrimination. This price will let them look at the consumer surplus. මම දැන් මෙතනින් එහාට supply කරන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතනින්ම නවත්තනවා මම supply එක. එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ part එක we say delta loss. කාටවත් යන්නේ. I'm not supplying it, the rod end in there, but in so this ash color part is delta. Did you understand that? So in the quantity price discrimination, the some part of surplus is remain for you. Okay. Then final market price discrimination. That is the third degree price discrimination. That this is a very common one. So for the depending on the market segment, I'm charging different prices. But ඔයාලගේ elasticities වෙනස්. ඒ අනුව මම identify කරන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට different prices දෙනවා. Airlines වල මගේ business class customers ලට වෙන price එකක්, economy අයට වෙන price එකක්. Lines. Understood? So charging of different prices for the same product in different markets until marginal revenue of the last unit of the product sold in each market equals the NC of producing the product. That means it's wrong. And this is my market one. Okay. So now let's say I have consumers. Let's say I'm a Excel, let's say I have the market power, perfect competition. So some people would buy eggs from me for retail purpose, or final consumption. Some people would buy from me for reproduction. Maybe restaurant. So I have final consumers, I have restaurants. Two different markets, right? So I have two different market demand and marginal revenues. Here, this is my market 2, this is my market 1, this is the demand and marginal revenue for the second. Okay, so I combine both of these two together and I get the total demand and total marginal revenue for the entire market, for my full market. Then I will total demand. So since I'm producing only one product, I have only one marginal cost. Then one product two different prices. So I have only one marginal cost. Understood? So this one marginal cost equals to my total marginal revenue and this. MR equal MC. Understood? So that MC is applicable for both of the market. එතකොට මට තියෙන්නේ FMC එකයි AMC එක තමයි මේ මාකට් දෙකටම apply වෙන්නේ. එකම product එකනේ product එකට cost දෙකක් තියෙන්න බෑනේ. So under that මම දැන් AMC එක අරගත්තොත් මගේ market 2 with AMC equals MR happens here. එතන ඉඳන් මුලට ගත්තොත් 4 is the price I should charge the market 2. Understood? Then if I take the same marginal cost here, MR equal MC happens here. So the price I should charge is 7. Understood? So the two different markets, same marginal cost, but two different marginal revenue and demand curves, I'm charging two different prices. Right? But if I forget that term, if I charge a single price for the entire market, A and MR equal MC method, I should charge 5. Understood? එතකොට මම මුළු market එකම differentiate කරන්නේ නැතුව, it doesn't matter whether I have like two different elasticities, I will charge only one price now, I will charge 5. Okay? So this total demand here, 90, මුළු market එකේම demand එක 90 is demanded, half 40 demanded by the market 2, 50 demanded by market 1. So මේ දෙන්නයි එකතුව තමයි මට මෙතන 90 available. ඒ 90 supply කරන්න යනවා මට මෙච්චරක් cost එක. ඒ cost marginal cost එක මම දෙපැත්තටම අරගෙන I check what is the maximum price I should charge in each of them. Understood? So either I can do price discrimination, charge different prices for different markets, or don't do that, charge a single price. Do you understand? Are you all okay? Okay, please draw this by yourself. Can you log into your LMS? And if you go there, you can see the pricing practices examples have been uploaded. Try to do it by yourself. The question number 1. Did you find it in LMS? Can you please mark the attendance by scanning this word? We need to know how to create this screen. Sound is coming. Sir, who wants to manually mark the elements? Anybody who wants to mark the attendance manually? Already? Mark it. It's all common. So any idea what this staff is? Huh? See, I really cannot find any pop-up window or anything. Here, this one. Very idea what to do? Are you okay to continue preventing classic background music? So anybody knows this IT person's contact number? That number. Is it in this building? But the number is not working. Something that we get for. This is like disturbing, no? Okay. So have you done the question? Yes? No? The same thing you have to do. So here multi-marker, how to solve this question. Here. So you have given two markers for two different markers and also the total cost for the entire marker. So you are supposed to find the profit maximizing price and the quantity for two different markers and then continue the questions. So did you get this too? Yes. The price equals to, in the first marker, price is 4, quantity is 4. So following the same step, you have to find the price and the quantity for the second marker first. Correct? Now follow the same steps and find the price and the quantity for the second marker. Okay. Done. So what is the price and the quantity in the second market? What did you get? If 2 equals, what is the question? 120 minus 10. Is the thing was similar?
I think it looks like you get from that's going for some like this. Oh,
So did you get 50 and 7?
Yeah.
In the second market? Okay. So if you compare, this is like this matches with the data, but the two markets are different. Here in our case, market 1, here market 2. Number 1, market 1 ticket. When we equate marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, we get quantity is 40, price is 4. So in the market 2, we supply 40 at 4. Understood? So if we take the second market here, we supply 50 at 7 rupees. So here 50 at 7 rupees. Understood? So now two different prices, two different market, different prices, different quantities. Okay. Now the question is, in the second part, what they asked? The first question, if the total cost function given, find out the marginal cost function of Asian food. That we don't know. So here the total cost is given 90 plus 2Q. So if you differentiate it with respect to Q, you get the marginal cost that is equal to 2. In the second part, what kind of strategy is this monopoly firm implementing? What type of strategy? Two different markers. Price discrimination, right? Third degree price discrimination. If that strategy is implemented, what prices will be charged from consumers and restaurants for a canned tuna tin? Now that we have done, what are the two prices in two different markets? For the consumers, they would charge per tin. How much? 4 rupees. 4 rupees per tin. Then 7 rupees per restaurant. Then if that strategy is implemented, okay, that's done. Imagine that you have been appointed as an economic advisor to Asian Foods. Advise the manager whether it is better to use this strategy or not. Now you have to carefully decide if you are going ahead with strategy, that means price discrimination, what is the profit you get? You have to calculate. If you are not going ahead with that strategy, that means you are not supplying differently. You can add total two demands together. Then for the total market, you are supplying. So what you have to calculate what is total demand, then what is the marginal revenue for the entire market. You know marginal cost. Then check what is the price you are charging and then check the profit. Understood? So you have to calculate the profit. For this scenario, when you are providing the product under two different prices for the two markets, then calculate the profit if you are providing under this scenario without discrimination. Did you do that? Correct? No. Because this part okay? Now here you have to be a little bit tricky here. Profit එක හදනකොට you have to carefully understand, even though it is two different markets, you have only one cost. Total revenue එක අරගෙන total cost එක අඩු කරනකොට you have to be tricky. Because in the total cost, you can see there are two parts. Total cost එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ 90 plus 2 කියනවා. Here. Total cost equal 90 plus 2 kilo. Then what is this 90? What is 90? Fixed cost. Then 2Q is the variable cost. So that means this fixed cost, variable cost, fixed cost is common for entire market. එතකොට ඔයාලා total cost එක අඩු කරනකොට profit වෙන වෙනම නම් market දෙකේ හොයන්නේ total cost එක අඩු කරනකොට fixed cost දෙපාරක් අඩු වෙන්නේ බෑ. For the entire market there's only one cost. So the easiest way for you to do what is the profit if you are going ahead with two market දෙකකට බෙදලා යනකොට මොකද්ද profit එක කියලා බලන්න නම් the easiest way for you to do is take the total revenue differently for the two markets. Market දෙකේ total revenue දෙක තියෙනවානේ. ඒකට quantities දෙක දාලා price දෙක දාලා total revenue දෙක calculate කරලා එකතු කරන්න. Then you get the total revenue for the entire market. Then deduct the total cost. එතකොට market දෙකේ total revenue දෙක වෙන වෙනම හදනවා price and quantity දෙක දාලා ඒ total revenue දෙකෙන් total cost එක අඩු කරනවා. මෙතන quantity එකට ගන්නවා entire market quantity. With the quantity cost එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. You understand? Likewise, get the profit for the two markets, then compare it with the total. Okay. No? Okay. So for the market one, in the market one, we know the quantity and the price is 40 and 4. For the market two also, we know the quantity is 50, price is 10. Okay. So then the total revenue for the entire market is total revenue for one first market plus total revenue for the second market. So for the first market, what is the total revenue? P1 into Q1 plus P2 into Q2. Price 1 is 4 into 40 plus 7 into 50. Is 510 total revenue? Yes. So then what is the total cost? Total cost equals 90 plus 2Q. Now Q equals Q1 plus Q2, which is 40 plus 50, that is 90. So total cost for the market is 90 plus 2 into 90. 270 is the total cost. Now we have to find the profit. Profit equals total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue is 510. Total cost is 270. Then we have 240. 240 are the profit. Then, so the profit is 240 if you go ahead with price discrimination. Now we have to find what is the profit if the company does not go ahead with price discrimination, rather providing the same product at the same price. Then product, then working advice කරන්නේ මේකත් එක්ක යන්න දෙපාද කියලානේ. Then now we know the profit. Then we have the quantities and prices for the two different markets. Revenue එක ගත්ත, cost එක ගත්ත, වෙනස ගත්ත, profit එක ගත්ත. Now we have to check if the company does not go ahead with this strategy, but instead they are going ahead with total market approach. Then you have to add the two demand curves together, then find what is the profit there. Demand then you have the total demand, ඒකෙන් total revenue එක හදාගත්තා, ඒකෙන් marginal revenue එක හදාගෙන MC වලට equal කරලා profit maximum quantity එකයි add කරලා යන්න. Understood? කරන්න බලන්න. Did you do? No. කොටසෙන් කොටස තමයි හදන්නේ.
I think
Can you get something like this? University bank make that? Make that. Huh? So you have to add the two demand curves together, get the total. This is the market. Then get the inverse. Then get the total revenue. What? Yes. Thank you. So the total market demand is 90 and the price is 5. So the total market demand anyway it should be equal to this quantity plus this quantity. 90 total market. Here now, if we take the market as it is, as a combination of the two demand curves, the 90 quantity we will supply at the price of 5. Price 5. Now you have to find the total revenue and total cost, thereby get the profit. And total revenue the total revenue equals P into Q. Now we know P is 5, Q is 9. 450. Total cost equals 90 minus total cost. 90 plus 2. So 90 plus 2 into 9. The total cost is same, 270. Then profit is 450 minus 270. How much is the profit? $280. Yes, you. One name. Profit is 180. Did you get that? Yes. Then you have to compare the two profits. If you go ahead without price discrimination, it is only 180. But if you go ahead with price discrimination, 240. So which is profitable for the company? Price discrimination. Higher profit is given by price discrimination. Whatever it is, you have to give your advice. This type of question you can be accepted. Huh? In the exam, you can expect this type of a question. All okay? Right. So now I will kind of do the review just to recap what we have done so far. I'm not going to like teach you everything, but I will briefly mention these parts we have done. Okay. So we have started with the production. Okay. So you should have an idea what is business economics and why the business economics subject is needed. Okay. Then we started with theory of production. Then in the theory of production, we divided it into two time periods, short run and long run. So what is the difference between these two? In the short run, we have two types of variables, right? Fixed and variable input. But in the long run, all the inputs are variable, right? Then we discussed the production function and the stages of production. Remember, the production function stages there are 3 stages. So you should remember the difference between each of the stage. And we discussed the average product and we discussed marginal product of labor. Yeah? Then we discussed the law of diminishing marginal returns. Right? Why is the marginal returns are diminished? Reason, what is the reason? A diminishing marginal return stage. The short run, why do we have diminishing marginal returns? No idea? Anything? Then what did we discuss? In the short run, we discussed how to maximize or how to have the optimal use of variable input. What is the condition? What is the condition of maximum use of labor? No idea? Marginal revenue product should be equal to marginal resource cost. MRP equal MRC කියලා හැදුවේ number of labors කොච්චරක් ඉන්න ඕනේද කියලා. So that helps. Okay. So then we decided, then we came to the long run. Long run now මොනවද අලුතෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්ත terms? Isocont, isocost. What is the slope of isocont? Marginal rate of technical substitution. What is the slope of isocost? W over R. So if when those two slopes are equal, we say that is the long run equilibrium. Okay? That's why we have different shades of isoconts depending on the products. Then we discuss something called rich lines, production expansion path. So these are the basic things that we discuss under the production. Right. Then what did we discuss? After that, we started to discuss cost. Under cost, what did we discuss? And also we discuss return to scale also. How many return to scale? What type of returns to scale do we have? 3 types: constant, increasing, and decrease. Then we came to the cost of production. So, what is the main categorization of cost? Economic cost. Implicit cost, explicit cost. We discuss. Then we discuss what is the difference between economic cost and accounting cost flows. Esapi, katakara marginal cost, average variable cost, fixed cost, all the cost related, and those relationship between the cost curves. Then we came to the long run cost. There's economies of scale, diseconomies of scale. Then we discuss how the producers decide the maximum quantity, the quantity that maximize the profit. How many approaches are there to decide that? 2 approaches, total approach and marginal approach. NMR equivalency, profit fund, we did the questions also. Then we discuss the market structures. Perfect competition again, market structures. So we did the review of already that. And finally, what did we do? We discussed the pricing practices. Okay? Market, or depending on your market power, how these firms or non-competitive firms decide the pricing. How many pricing practices are there? 3 pricing practices. The first one is the price discrimination. Under price discrimination, there are 3 types. First degree, second degree, third degree. So then we did the calculation. The second part is a 2-part pricing. Price discrimination is the first type. Then the second type is the 2-part pricing. That means in the price, a form of pricing in which consumers are charged both an entry fee and usage fee. The price again, fixed price and variable pricing. Can you give examples? This mobile network connections fixed price so that is sort of 2-part pricing. And also sometimes if you go to this carnivals or something, there is admission. Admission fee so there is a fixed price plus variable price. If that's the case, we say that is 2-part pricing. Fitness club gym admission fee Yes, so then we have a fixed part and price into quantity part, variable part. So that is 2-part pricing. Okay. Then tie-in sales. The third type. Price discrimination, 2-part pricing. Third type is the tie-in sales. So that means conditioning the sale of one product on the purchase of another product. Buy one, get one free. This is tie-in sales, right? Bundling. Tie-in in the context of pricing refers to a practice where the price of one product or service is dependent on the purchase of another. The 2 forms of tie-in sales are requirement tie-in sale and bundle කරලා දෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේක වෙන වෙනම ගත්තොත් ඒ product එක different price. හැබැයි දෙන්න bundle කරලා ගත්තොත් තව price එක. Right? Pricing practices. Usually goods are bundled for efficiency because combining goods in a bundle reduces the transaction cost incurred by consumers or the production cost associated with the product. Also, producers can increase the sales volume. Selling dining table and the chairs as a bundle. Also, sales of operating system and the application software together as a bundle for computers. Those are the examples. එතකොට දැන් මේසේ වෙනම කුඩු ටික වෙනම තිබ්බොත් ඔයාලට transaction cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා. And the production cost is also higher for the producer. වෙනම advertise කරන්න ඕනේ, වෙනම එක transport කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ, everything. But if he makes it a bundle, මේස ගන්නකොට කුටු වලට අඩු price එකක් දෙනවා කියලා වෙනම time sale එකක් දැම්මම for you also it's beneficial, for him also it's beneficial. So that is another practice. Okay, so there are 3 types in practices: price discrimination, two-part pricing, then timing sale. Okay, with that the pricing practice is also done. Right. Now, if we talk about the question, like do you prefer to have 4 questions or 5 questions? 25 ගානේ 4ක්ද 20 ගානේ 5ක්ද? What do you prefer? 20 ගානේ 5. The number of questions are higher. The questions within which do you prefer? 5 questions or 4 questions? Anything is better. Doesn't matter. Huh? Select the number because of the Which one do you prefer? Because like I cannot give you options to select because of the content. Content එක පොඩ්ඩයි නේද මට optional දාලා දාන්න බෑ ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න හදන්න තරම් content එකක් නැහැ. ඉස්තර ගානේ පහක් කරත් පහ ගානේ හතරක් කරත් මුළු content එකම cover වෙනවා. What do you prefer? Well, කියනවා වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Doesn't matter. හැම එකටම equal rate දාලා යන්න. ප්‍රශ්න ගන්න වැටුණාට ටික ටික ස්කෝර් කරනවා කියලා බෑ. එකම ප්‍රශ්න ටික තමයි බෙදෙන්නේ. පහට බෙදලා හතරට බෙදනවා. So do you prefer 5 questions? 5 කියලා යද්දී බලන්න. I'll get a bottle. No. All need 4. 4 okay. ඔයාලා තමයි කියන්නේ. 5. 5 කියලා යද්දී සර් 1 4 කියලා. Only few. Then 5 questions, huh? Do you need 5 questions then? So I will give you 5 questions then. Huh? So from session 1 to session 8, all the sessions would be covered. Huh? Sessions of cover. Huh? I have one additional session, but I will not include that. Like again, but I think the content would be enough for you guys. So I will upload that additional session as well, but it would not be covered in the exam. Session that is about asymmetric information. That means how the information is not perfect among the buyers and sellers. Accordingly, what is the market inefficiencies happen in the market? Session but I will not cover that for the exam. But I have time if you want to cover it also. What do you prefer? So I will give you 5 questions covering from all the content that we covered and we discussed in the class, starting with the introduction, theory of production, cost of production, then market structures, pricing practices. So 50-50 weightage would be there for the theoretical explanations and the numerical calculations. Okay. So you should it's better for you to have the understanding and also the examples, practical applications and everything. Definition understood? Idea that will be enough. Okay. So you can expect some drawing diagrams as well, and also you can expect some numerical questions, profit maximization, then this price discrimination, who not model, right? Okay, ඒ ඔක්කොම ඔයාලට expect කරන්න පුළුවන්. So in terms of the questions allocation, there would be one question from production, one question from cost, and also one question from pricing practices, maybe pricing practices plus something, introduction or something. Then two questions from market structures. Put it on edit. Yes, balance okay. So within one question, I think for you, I have to check the time allocated. Maybe it should be 2 credit or anything. 2 to 3. If it's 2, I think 2 hour paper. 2 hour paper got that. So according to the time, I will like try to minimize the sub questions within one question. Maximum I get 4 parts again. Okay, look at a question කොහොමද පැය භාගයෙන් ඔයාලට දාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක පැය භාගයක හදන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ I will within one question there would be like one part for explanation, one part for calculation, maybe one part for diagram. ඒ විදිහට බෙදලා ඉන්නවා. Okay, so every question would be like equally allocated the weight for the calculation, for drawings and for explanation. So make sure you do not write everything you know for the question. Manage your time wisely. So please answer to the point, right? Drag explanations to the point answers. So do you want to know anything else? So you already know your quiz mark. 30 20 out of 20. So this one out of 30. Total 15. Continuous group assignment out of 13. And the higher, I think 10 for the report, 10 for the group presentation, and 5 for the individual. Then yes. And then marks. Wait. What in the this is not correct. I have done again the separate pages there for the mark calculation. Previous assignments here on the Targets. So quiz 20, report 15, group presentation 10, group presentation individual mark 5. It's 30 for the group assignment, 20 quiz, altogether 50 for the continuous assignment. Then your final marks for the paper also will be weighted from 50. Understood? So please download all the materials and read. And carefully, I will recommend you to have some summary versions. From all the slides, if you can make your own note. Then you can do the review questions also, practice the review questions and each session. Then you will be okay to do the exam. Review questions, say up your class questions for game. I will not change advance it more, complex it more. The same weight, same complexity, you can expect in the exam as well. That's all for the exam. And next week we are having the group presentation. Please be punctual, practice it, and especially the time allocation. Make sure all the members are equally allocated the content wise, and also you have to be limiting 15 time minutes. So 15 minutes timeline. If you exceed the time, I will ask you to stop. Okay. And at the end, I will have some questions as well. So you should be able to answer it as a group. Okay. Then that's all. Do you want to know anything else? There will be 5 questions as you requested. Continuous assignment marks.
Total some questions.
That also has been uploaded in PLMS.
Like this separate
Separate means
Separate means another 4 or 5 questions.
I cannot. No, because like I think the questions I have been given under each subject or each slide would be enough for you to practice. Otherwise, I will miss preparation for the exam also. තමයි මටත් හදන්න වෙන්නේ different formulas මේකෙම එක එක වෙන විදිහේ formulas so same thing එකක් ඔයාලා practice කරගත්තොත් that would be enough for you. Don't worry too much about that. It doesn't matter how many questions you practice. What matters is that how well you have taken the concept, the steps. If you know that, you can do any question. The pricing practices again, our question same structure. 2 different marks for a demand, then you would be asked to assess whether profit is maximized under price discrimination or not. Okay. So sometimes I would give you the like inverse demand as it is, or else you have to convert it into an inverse demand and have the total revenue. Trick එක. price එක උක්ත කරලා inverse එක හදාගෙන තමයි total revenue එක හදාගන්නේ. Otherwise you will miss. Understood? That's all. කොච්චර ප්‍රශ්න හදුවා අර equation ටිකේ වෙනස විතරයි. Anything else? I think the review questions would be enough for you to practice. So I think that already too much there is another question in the document I uploaded. Practice that as an additional question. Okay? All okay? All right. Then we are winding down the session now. So we have done the content. There are altogether 8 sessions, and we have done some review questions. So please practice, have your own note, memorize everything and get the concept correctly. And here they will inform you on the exam date later. We'll do the continuous assignment next week. Okay, so attendance is compulsory. Do not give the excuses. I won't be able to keep your mark. Okay, I'll never then back. So please make sure all of you attend for the presentation. And the way you deliver, you can decide whether it's a creative way or a formal presentation, but the time allocated is 15 minutes. Okay, so please make sure you bring the report printed, and also I will upload an LMS link to upload soft version as well. That's all then. Okay, and then all okay. We'll meet next day with assignment. I will not do any sessions next day. Okay, only the assignments.